Hello, everyone. This is JemsWJess.
This is Motivate2Gravitate.
And today's topic is faith. Last week, we talked about shedding the old me, and today we want to talk about faith.
Absolutely, guys. And where there is faith, there is definitely blessings. So we want to talk to you guys about how your faith can be battle tested, how important it is to have faith, and more importantly, what is the result and the outcome of having faith.
Yep. So, faith. What is faith to you? I'm going to put you out there first.
Faith to me, how I look at faith is believing in something or believing in a power that necessarily you can't see with your own eyeballs. Okay. So for example, I'll put myself out there even further, right? So currently, besides me having my own LLC, I'm not employed. So by an example of me having faith is, although I can't physically see my next opportunity, physically see what the elevation will be of my next finances, but I have faith that, no matter, what jobs may reach out to me or what jobs I may reach out to them, I know that God is going to bless me with the right opportunity at the right time. Mm-hmm. And also, just to piggyback on that, faith means to me is sometimes we, as in humans, right, we get a little stingy or, we get a little bit, oh my God, I want it now. Yeah. Impatient. Impatient should have probably been my middle name. But the thing about it is God's time is always the perfect timing. And that's a good example of faith, because although where I might look at a bill like, holy heck, this bill is due at the 12th of the month and today's the 10th. Oh goodness, how's this going to work? And God might bless me with a blessing right there on the 12th to actually make the payment of my bill. So I may not be able to physically see the blessing before it happens, but I'm faithful and I'm confident that the blessing will happen at the right time and on God's time.
That was some gems. Okay.
Gemmers.
But yeah, that was good. So I guess putting you out there again, how has your faith been tested during that process, during your own process right now?
Well, obviously, as all of us are in a global pandemic, right. That's just not going to change. Hopefully, any of us who have had family members, to get sick and unfortunately pass away from the pandemic, hopefully everyone is doing as best as possible during these hard and trying times. Absolutely. Honestly, it's been a challenge mentally and spiritually, because, the thing is, our definition of normalcy, right? None of us can do. Yeah. You and I used to be able to go to the mall and not think anything of it. Right. Right. Yo, what's that movie this weekend? Yo, you want to go see that? Yeah, sure. Or go to a restaurant and, not have to worry about social distancing. We can get in a crowded place. It might be 20 million people in there and we think nothing of it, to go have a nice bite to eat. And not being able to do the things the same ways that we're used to has been mentally depressing and challenging for me, because it's just like, man, I feel like, outside of doing things that I necessarily have to, even though we're not under the same executive orders, it's just like, you got to be safe. Yeah. If you want to go to a get together, if you want to have a meeting or hang out with friends, you really can't do that because, this virus is just unpredictable. Yeah, people can be asymptomatic. And don't even know, you know what I mean? And if you guys gather in 10s and 20s and 30 and what have you, heck, you may get sick. Right. You know what I mean? So, and for me, I actually have an underlying condition as well. So for me, it's like the thought of getting COVID potentially, and the fact that I do have an underlying health condition, that scares me too. Right. Because I just read an article, I think a few days ago, about this girl who actually has the same condition that I had, which is pulmonary embolism. And unfortunately, she succumbed to the virus when she contracted it. And she was a college kid too, actually younger than me. She was 20. And she unfortunately passed away in her dorm room. Yeah. So, when I look at things like that, on top of where we are at as a country as well, that's another thing. We're dealing with the pandemic and we're also dealing with the division in this country. Yeah. Obviously, we now, as of today, have official new president-elect and Congratulations to President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. Hopefully we're able to unite the country as one, and we're all able to have faith and grow our faith together as one.
Absolutely.
And, just with those things, it's like even going to the grocery store, right? You have to worry about, man, if I really wore my political views, or if I wore my religious views or my sexual orientation or whatever the case may be on a sleeve, then, oh goodness, that might strike up a confrontation. With someone else who has opposing views as me versus to, hey, this is a democracy we all live in. Hey, if you believe in Jesus and I don't, you have that right, regardless of whether I agree with you or not, and what have you. So those are some of the things that worry me, because it seems as though you're always kind of looking over your shoulder, whether it's the darn virus, the invisible enemy, or whether it might be just the times that we're in because of opposing views that might lead to a confrontation. I think you got to really be spiritually fit, and mentally fit as well, in order, because if not, then a lot of people also just have committed suicide during these times too. And I think that's something that's not talked about a lot. We talk about the deaths of COVID, people contracting COVID, homicides in our inner cities, but people are actually committing suicide and overdosing because mentally and spiritually they just can't handle it, and they think it's the apocalypse or the end of the world.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that's where faith plays in a lot of parts, because regardless what's going around us right now, we have to have faith that no matter what, we're going to surpass all this. That, regardless how it looks around us, that God is going to always fight for us. And even though, people are left and right are being sick, but the fact that we haven't been sick, or I'm sure many of you guys haven't either, it's a blessing. So definitely count your blessings, and have faith that regardless where you go, you're always going to be covered, you're protected. And this is why it's essential to pray before you go out. Really, like this, if we can't control what we can't control, so at least depend or ask your higher power, which is, for me, it's God, protect me wherever I go. Because honestly, if we think about it, go to another example, the pandemic, yes, it's it's horrible, it's bad, things are going left and right, but we can really just, anything could happen to us. We can go out and the car just crashes, like, what I mean, and we're done. So it's kind of like, I feel like the world right now is everyone's going through it. Everyone is mentally not there, spiritually not there. And I think that's where a lot of things is causing harm to ourselves, because now we're in a situation where what the heck do we do?
And just to kind of piggyback on that, and just kind of what I was talking about earlier, just like the invisible enemy we have in COVID, unfortunately with faith, it's kind of invisible power, if that makes sense, right? And we're focused so much on what we can see, which are people dying, which are people are divided. You turn on the news, oh my God, if they're not talking about COVID, they're talking about, racial division. You know what I mean? So it's just like, there's so many things, like you were saying, that's just around us that we can't escape and we can see, versus the being confident, being faithful in what we can't see, but what we know ultimately will work and become of us.
And that's another thing. You have to also, I'm glad you brought that up, because you also have to realize, like, what is your energy? What is your source?
Yeah.
Like the news, oh my God. Like if you, okay, I'm not saying it's not bad to watch the news. Definitely get informed, all this stuff. But you have to kind of disconnect from it, because there's every day it's something. Every day it's something. And just like, I guess if you want to put like the enemy is doing things, so is God though. It's just, you know what I mean? It's around us. The fact that we woke up right now, the fact that we're breathing, we're healthy, that's blessings. And I think sometimes we think that blessings have to be materialistic things, or just things that are like, oh man, that's something huge. When reality, waking up, that's a blessing in itself.
Yeah. And also, I think with the news to me runs the best stories. It's just like anything in business. They want to run what is going to attract the most attention. And unfortunately, for an example, and this may not be a very good one, but whatever, maybe it might be someone walking down the street helping an old lady cross the street. That's a very nice act. You know, and I think I can speak for both of us in our generation and before, we were used to doing things like that. You know, you see an old lady struggling with her bags, you know, help her out, things of that nature. And I'm sure that doesn't happen as often as it used to back in the day. But the point that I'm making is, you know, something like that, a very good deed won't be highlighted. But guess what? 3 shootings in East Baltimore will be.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that'll be the topic of the 11 o'clock news. And not saying those things should not be reported, but it seems as though in the society that we're in, that the negative things always hold the more of the weight, more of the light than the positive things. And I think if a lot of people saw as much good as they saw bad, and seeing that there was a balance, right, then I think it would be also easier if your source is the news, if your source is Instagram, Facebook, or what have you. It would be easier to have even more faith, because with just as much bad, unfortunately, as the world, there's also even much more good that we don't see.
That's true. And also, like, Instagram is starting to be low-key kind of like a news.
Oh, it is. I know that's my election source beside the news.
Like, you can find anything, everything. Like Shade Room.
Right?
They post everything. Like, but, so definitely, like, I think for myself, Instagram used to be something just kind of like disconnect from people or the world or whatever. But now it's kind of becoming people's world. So it's like everything is just there. And it's like, I find it sometimes like, oh, I got to kind of disconnect myself. Because it's like, because mostly Instagram for myself, I use it just to motivate, honestly. See something inspirational, put it out there. Something comes in my mind, I make a video. But definitely now, like, you have to find the right sources. It's easy to get lost in the sources that are very negative. But you have to find something that brings that light into you, brings that energy where it's like, ooh, okay, I needed this. I can keep going. Instead of seeing things that are going left and you're like, ooh, I'm scared now. Fear is kind of one of the most things that gets you stagnant. So don't allow yourself to go through fear, because fear can really stop you from a lot.
And you know, with fear, right, and obviously we're all human, so we all experience fear. You know, we're humans. But you know what I also think is a good point is that with most fear, right, there's lack of faith.
Right.
And I think the more faith that you have, the less fear you will have.
Right.
Because you know that you're always protected. You know, I'll give an example. Oh goodness, and this is a contradictory example, but hopefully you all get the point. Like a police officer, right? A police officer is what? They're armed, right? So although their weapon isn't the end all be all, but they have more of a fighting chance if a situation arises versus to being unarmed.
Right.
And when you have God in your life and when you have faith, you're always armed. And the difference between a weapon on your hip and having the weapon in the will of God is God covers you all around. God covers you completely, and he covers everything around you completely. You know what I mean? And when you have that faith and when you believe in that ability that, hey, God is never going to forsake you. God is always going to protect you. God has your back. You trust me. Take it from me. You sleep much better at night.
Oh, absolutely. Because, and it's funny though, because, you know, I'm sure we all have enemies.
Absolutely.
You know.
We all do.
And they want our heads.
They definitely do.
And it's okay because, and to me, it's actually very hilarious. It's funny when I see them, you know, trying to do something or trying to really do something to harm you or any type of way. Because when you think about it, I'm a person that really believes in God. So when I have my faith in God, this is why you need to know who you trust in. Because when you know you trust in a higher power, when somebody like God that can see everything, protects you from everything, he has the power to literally do anything. And when you trust on someone like that instead of a human, you're going to see how God moves in your favor. So for me, like, I really find it hilarious when my enemies, it could be spiritually or physically, we're in the end of it, it's really all spiritually. It's hilarious when you see them trying to do things, and especially when they think you don't know, but you really do. It's very interesting because that has a lot of power. And I think this is another step going where you're also going to be tested. Because just like you see the power, how you see around you and you see everything, you can really make a move. You can really take things in your own hands and get it done. Especially because they think you don't know, but you do. It's a dangerous thing. It really is. I'm telling you, it's a dangerous thing when you have the whole power control in your hands and you can really just take it in your own manner.
Yeah, you can just snap a finger and it'll just all go away.
But, and this is where you're being tested too. And I think last episode I said that situations really bring the real you. And yes, it builds you in some type of way, but it really brings out the true colors of yourself. So when you know you can do something to somebody or whatever, but you're going to allow God to move in your favor, that's trusting, that's faith. Because then, like I said, he sees everything. At the end of the day, we're just humans. God sees everything. So when you play with a child of God, that's a dangerous thing to do. And especially when that child trusts in God so much that it's like, you can't do anything. And that's why Psalms 91 says that the enemy is going to try. He's definitely going to try, but he won't prevail. So you have to really believe and have faith that God got you, protects you. And when you walk in purpose, when you walk in your journey with God, literally nothing can devour you if it's not meant for God and if it's not your time. So I really find it very interesting how our enemies, try and they can't succeed. They won't succeed. Because when you believe in God, God is a man that he really takes pride in trusting him. So when you know that he has you, he's going to act accordingly. He's going to act. And like I said, it's a very dangerous thing when you play with a child of God. It really is. So I'm glad that you actually touched that protection thing, that God really does protect. We might not see it. We might not really, but you don't know in the back end how many things God already have safety from. And when you think about it like that, it's like, dang.
Right. Safe. And what I'll say to that, just to add on to that, listen, anything can happen at any time, no matter how physically prepared that you are. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to put it out there. But things only happen if God allows them to happen. Exactly. So even though the enemy can touch you, right? Even though, but the enemy has to go through God all the time. Right. God has to grant that. And see, what a lot of people don't realize is sometimes we are touched. Sometimes we are even, and not necessarily touched in a physical sense, mm-hmm. but sometimes we are touched from a mental standpoint or a spiritual standpoint of the enemy. Mm-hmm. Like the enemy lets us know, yeah, we here. Right. But God lets us know that, yeah, he here too. Absolutely. And, again, when you have God on your side, like you said, Jess, there is nothing or anything or anyone that could ever bring you down. And more importantly, mm-hmm. once God is in your heart, no one can ever take that away from you. Mm-hmm. So, keep that in mind. And not even just that, sometimes those of us who've had struggles in life, we look at life as sort of a storm, right? Mm-hmm. And we touched on this many episodes ago. But what I'll say to that is this. For those of you all who are going through a lot, who may not have had a winning hand all the time, or at least so seemingly you haven't had a winning hand. If God hasn't pulled you through that storm yet, trust me, he's currently doing so. Yes. And there's light always at the end of every tunnel. Mm-hmm. And that's what you always have to keep in mind. But more importantly as well, I think the more trials and tribulations that you go through and the more that you overcome adversity, mm-hmm. I think that even if your spiritual beliefs aren't maybe to a point where you would like them to be, mm-hmm. I would have to think that you would at least take the cultural benefits, the life benefits of it, and that would build more of your faith and your confidence into you at the very least, that there isn't no mountain that you can't climb. Right. There isn't any pinnacle that you cannot reach. And to me, that's the most important thing. Faith is in all forms. Faith is in all shapes and sizes. Some people have a lot of faith. Some people have a little bit of faith. And just more importantly with that is, guys, always remember that, when you have God in your heart and on your side, there is no weapon that will ever prosper. Absolutely. No weapon formed against you shall ever prosper. And there will be weapons formed. Yeah, there are all types of weapons. It's not just physical assault rifles, shotguns, or what have you. There are all types of weapons. Even at the workplace, for example, there's always someone that dislikes you. It's funny. It's that old saying, there's always one. It is. Some of us have always been to work, and hey, we like 99.9% of the people we work with. And there's always just that one person that no matter how hard you try, they just rub you the wrong way. But look at it like this. A lot of people, especially the more and more you continue to elevate, not only just at a job, but it just in life in general, people don't like that. Because people don't like to see the train moving unless they're on that train. Even though they're not doing anything to start the train and get on the train, but just they understand that the train is moving. And that's how the enemy works. The enemy understands your purpose in life. Trust me. Besides God, the enemy knows. Yes. The enemy knows what your purpose is. And God's job is to guide and navigate you through all of the dark woods, through all of the fires and what have you, to get you to the utmost point in life that he has in store for you. And the devil's enemy is to prevent that at all measures, to make you lose faith, to make you give up, to make you quit, to make you want to kill yourself and what have you. And you got to stay focused. You got to keep your eye on the prize. And faith, I think, when it's tested and when it's challenged, it can be tough. Sometimes, something that's close by, like even my hand in front of my face, that's close by. But guess what? If I don't have faith and I don't have confidence, that hand looks like it's a mile away. So when you have faith, and the more faith that you have, it allows you to put things into a better perspective. And once you have a perspective, and once you know that whatever it is that you want to achieve is doable and it's obtainable, there's nothing in this world that's going to stop you but you.
Yeah, and that's true. And honestly, I want to bring it back to where the Bible says, if you have faith of like a mustard seed. A mustard seed is the smallest seed, but it's the plant that's like, once it's ground and it comes out, it's the biggest plant. So it's crazy because a mustard seed is so small, so tiny. And the fact that all you need is that amount to move the mountain, realize that, okay, maybe you don't have a tons amount of faith, but faith is faith. You can't replace that. Faith is faith. So even if you feel like you have the tiniest faith, remember, a mustard seed is so tiny. You can move that mountain. You can surpass whatever it is that you're trying to overcome. And honestly, the definition of faith in my life, I feel like faith to me is being able to see the things that don't yet exist. So that's how things exist. For instance, like when someone's going to build a house, they finish the house before they start. Why? Because they actually have a whole diagram of how they want the house. They have a whole scripted everything. And they go based off the finished product that they wrote down, then they make the house. They had a vision before they made it. They actually started to build. And that's how faith is. In order to really start something, you have to see it. You have to have a vision of it. And then you take actions to get there. You take the actions to get what it is, the vision that you need. And for me, I think faith it's not always, easy. Because sometimes we do have to go through a lot of obstacles to get through there. But hey, if you see that vision, go ahead and get it done. I think us humans are one of the most extraordinary human beings because we're the only ones that can literally change anything and snap of a finger. We don't have to stay at the same place. And when it comes to animals, that's it. They have a certain system and that's it. Us humans, we can really change. We don't have to be the same person we were a year ago, a month ago, a week ago, a day. We can really change. But the question is, you have to see, what's the vision for yourself? We're about to end this year, you guys. The election is over. Poof, we got that out the way. Okay, now is really time to get you right. Because the elections, yes, cool, we won, great. But what are you going to do for yourself? Because at the end of the day, a president can't do that for you. So the question is, What is your vision for yourself for 2021 coming? 2020 is basically gone. Like, the last months that we have, it's just time to prepare ourselves to really set that foundation if it's not already set. And apply your faith. This is the time where your faith is going to be tested. This is the time that your faith is going to be questioned. But you have to remember who you are, first of all, who you trust in, and where your faith is at. And get that source. Feed good things to yourself. Stop allowing the news, things, all these negativity to overwhelm you. You have to find your source. You have to find whatever that is that brings you happiness, brings you joy, that knowledge. Knowledge is the key, but applied knowledge is even better. So, faith.
Yeah, and I think also that, with the news and things that you watch, it's also about things that we listen to as well.
Yeah,
I'll be
true.
honest, I've been a stickler for you can listen to whatever you want and it won't consume you. I've said that for years. But no, when you find yourself listening to certain music, and this is good, bad, etc., whatever genre of music you particularly care for, you find yourself more of wanting to mimic whatever it is that you're listening to.
Yeah.
And that's just by human nature. And, also, and it goes hand in hand, right? It goes the music that we listen to, the things we watch.
Yeah.
Also, if some of us have a habit, like drinking, like smoking, drug addiction, whatever the case may be, that also plays a factor into keeping us down more or more so making us even more sad and more depressed. And it's hard to have faith when you're waking up every day at 2 p.m. not knowing where you're at. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to have faith because you walk out your front door and you see some D-boys standing on the corner. You know what I'm saying? And it looks like, and looks can be deceiving as well. I want to touch on that too, because everything that look good ain't good. Trust me. Somebody can have a Balenciaga fit completely. And you may think, oh man, I want to be like them. Let me go ahead and move this way to move that. And then you got to think. But what they also don't tell you about the drug dealing is you got to re-up too. It's just like when you have a business, right? When you have a product, you do sell a product, but you also have to restock your product when it's gone. So, it takes a while to actually make a profit or to get your profit margin differential up to a point where you're actually, pulling in some good profit. So while that person has a Balenciaga fit, that's probably worth, oh man, more than the product he moved, but he doesn't have he has $0 in his pocket to show for it. And the money that he does have ain't really his money. So the point that I'm making is with faith, sometimes we lose faith because we see certain people or certain individuals that, okay, well, wait a minute. Them doing the stuff that they do, they don't even believe in God, right? They do X, Y, and Z. They do the total opposite of what God would even say to do. But it seems like they're shining, and look at me. I'm trying to work an honest job. I'm working a 9 to 5. I have kids. I'm a single parent. I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing, or at least that I think that I'm doing, and it doesn't look like I'm receiving blessings. And that's why where there's faith, there comes blessings, because God rewards his children. God rewards good behavior. Yeah. You're faithful, you're obedient, and you're loyal to God. Trust me, God is going to be the same exact way to you. But just remember, where there's a place, there's a time as well. Yeah. And God's timing is perfect timing.
And also, that's interesting that you said that, because I really do see myself, like, I see us kind of like children, and God sees us like they're children. When you have a child, so I don't have a child yet, but I have a niece and a goddaughter. So it's like I see, how sometimes they want something. They might want something like, I remember when Neilani wanted the muffin, right?
Yeah.
And she didn't eat. And she were like, all right, Neilani, you can get a little piece now. Like, get a little bit, but you can't get the whole thing. And she wanted more. She was like, more, Daddy. And she were like, no, just that, because you still have to eat. In her understanding, she doesn't understand. No, I just want
see a
that
good looking muffin.
Yeah, I want that muffin. Just give me the muffin. And I think that's how we are sometimes. When we want something, we might want something right there and now, but God is, wait, you're not ready for that, or wait, something else is coming to prepare you for that. And
let's be honest, right? Let's dig a little deeper into this. Let's say we our envisions, and we will be millionaires, and
Absolutely.
we will be billionaires. We're speaking that into existence. God willing, and the creek don't rise, and it won't.
Amen.
But you know, what would we have done with $3 million at 18, fresh out of high school?
For real.
If we really had those, and you know, seriously, sometimes, you know, I look at things like that. Like, man, if I really had $20 million right now, would I really be doing what I should be doing with it?
Right.
Or would I be doing what I
true,
shouldn't be doing with it?
18. Ooh.
Exactly. You know, listen, and by no means, me and Jess are perfect. You know,
no.
let's make that very clear.
Please don't even
you
think
know
that.
And none of us are. That's why we're all a work in progress. And when it's a work in progress, that means you're not the finished product. But anywho, that's neither here nor there. But the point that I'm making is this. You know, some of us, like you said, Jess, we're not ready for what's in store right now.
Right.
You know, a lot of us, we want the success, we want the money, we want the cars, or whatever that we want, but we really wouldn't know how to handle it if we did have it. And, you know, not to downplay anyone, but let's say you look at some of these celebrities, right? Some of these children who were born into celebrity status because of who their parents were. And you look at, they're 18, they got a whole bunch of money, and they're partying and drugging with their friends so much they got to go into drug rehab at 16, at 17, at 18. Because they don't know what to do with themselves. They have so much money and so many opportunities, they just don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And, you know, arguably that could be some of us as well, where we could have been afforded some of those same luxuries and entities and things like that, and we could be in the same predicament. So that's why, you know, it doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter how much success you have. It doesn't matter. You know, there are certain things that just aren't perfect. And we also have a vision of what is perfect. You know, when we look at rap videos, because I'm a fan of rap, I like hip hop, you know, from old school to new school. And, you know, when I look at certain videos, I'm like, man, you know, it looked like they the man. You know, they got the women in the videos, they got the cars, they throwing a whole bunch of money and everything. I'm like, dang, man, I wish that was me, man. You know, they living a life. Right. And I ain't hear them say God on one song, you know? Right. And then you look at your life, I'm like, man, I really am in my humble abode, you know, eating my bowl of cereal, you know, watching the morning news. Yeah, noodles, right? And, you know, but the reality of it is, sometimes you can do more with less than you can do, and you can do less with more. So you have to understand that more isn't always everything, and everyone is destined to have a different version of more. You know what I'm saying? Not everyone is destined to be a rapper. Not everyone is destined to be an athlete. Not everyone is destined to be a president. The whole goal is for you to fulfill your purpose on this earth before you leave here that God has for you. Right. And God, trust me, has a purpose and a vision for everyone, especially if you are constantly walking in the footsteps of faith and you are constantly following God. And that's the more important thing. You have to be a follower as well. You have to be a follower of God. Right. And when you are a follower of God, your vision will be revealed. But before it's revealed, he will lay out the foundation and lay out the framework before you're able to move in that house. He already has the blueprint. Right. He's just building the blocks, and it ain't quick. Because as quickly as you can build something is as quickly as it can fall down. You know what I mean? Like if I race to, you know, build my house and I build it off of sticks, you know, the big bad wolf comes, he's going to blow my house down. Right. But, you know, when I lay the bricks and I lay the foundation down and then I take my time with it and I make sure it's sturdy and stable, can't nothing blow my house down. Exactly. And I know that was a really old analogy, you know, by the way. That story. Yeah. But, you know, and that's just how I look at faith. And again, where there's faith, there's always blessings. That's just how it is. True. And even the Bible says you will be known by your fruits. So if you don't believe and you're very negative, trust me, people are going to tell. People are going to know. And it's crazy because a lot of celebrities that we think they're up there, they got this money, are kind of the number ones that commit suicide. They abuse drugs, you know. They have multiple partners because they're not truly happy within themselves. Right. You know. And then I think also like for myself, why weren't I born with money? Like I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna keep it all the way a buck. I always like, why wasn't I born to a white family? Not even gonna hold you. I'm gonna keep it all the way a buck. Yeah. No. I always wanted to get adopted by a rich white family. Not even gonna lie. I just wish, why didn't my parents do what they had to do so we could be rich? That was my thing. Like, why didn't, you know what I mean? Why didn't they do that? But no, like, and
that's why we have to. Okay, they didn't do it, but they did the best they can. They raised us and everything, but now it's up to us. And one of the things I love that my mom really put morals in me. Like, you know, maybe she didn't have the money, you know, to give me, but she definitely installed so many morals, and I'm thankful for it, because now I go to other households, like Hispanics, culture, you know, different. But when I go to another Hispanics house, their kids might not, and I'm just like, whoa, like, you know, and then they think I'm all educated and I'm this and that, but no, it's just the morals. You know, your core value cannot change. Doesn't matter if you get money. It doesn't matter if you get what you want. Those core values, you have to know what they are, because that's your core.
And speaking of core, faith instills those very core values as well. And the more faith that you have, it also builds more of a better core. And it lays more of a groundwork for you as well. So the more faith that you have, especially the faith in God, more importantly,
Right.
I mean, oh my goodness, that just speaks volumes. And other believers and other faith havers will recognize you. Like they always say, game recognize game, right? Faith recognize faith.
Yeah, and that's true. And that's what I'm saying. You have to build yourself. No division. Know who you want to be. 2021, like I said, is right around the corner. And, you know, the fact that nothing has happened to us, the fact that we're still here, we might not have everything. It might be hard at the time, but you just never know how things can turn around. Just like with the election. It was a very close election, because I was watching it. Like, it was
Tight.
very close. But then look, I didn't win. So it's like, you know, the fight can be close, you know. Could be like back to back to back, but your faith will surpass the obstacles that you're facing. And it might feel like they're very close to each other, and you might feel like, oh, I don't think I can do this, or I'm not going to be able to see this through. But then boom, you see it. And because, like I said, when you trust in God, God is going to come through for you. Because you're not trusting in a human. You're trusting in God. You're trusting in someone that's so... Your creator is different. He knows everything about you. Literally everything. And he knows he sees everything, most importantly. So if you want something right now and you're not getting it, continue to have that faith. Continue to ask God. And I think we had this conversation, in order to pass certain levels, you also have to ask yourself, what am I doing that's not allowing me to pass this level? Because sometimes I see my life kind of like a video game. I used to be very Mario Bros. Like, you know.
Already.
So, like, you know, you have to pass that level in order to get to the next level.
And how I look at it is like sports, because obviously go Ravens. But anyways, I look at it like the fourth quarter, right? Because technically we're in the fourth quarter this year. And I'm not gonna lie, with the pandemic and the racial division, heck, arguably we getting blown out 30-0.
Right.
You know, and there's 5 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. And the thing about it is this: sometimes obstacles can be very steep.
Right.
You know, they can be. You know, no one's sugarcoating that.
Yeah.
It can look very, like we said earlier, out of reach. But the reality of it is, there's still time on the clock.
Exactly.
And how I translate that is to in life. You know, I may not, pardon me. I may not be where I want to be, or where I think I want to be.
Right.
Right? Because the key word think, because you never know what God has in store for you.
Right. That's true.
So because my vision and what I want to do may not be what God wants me to do.
That's
so I'm going to make that clear. But there's still time on the clock. And what I mean by that is this: once you expire, you're gone. There ain't no coming back. So once that clock hits 0, that's a wrap. So guys, keep in mind, we still have time on the clock. Some of our times are more limited than others, but make the most out of your time. And a starter with making the most out of your time is having faith.
Right.
Having faith. Continue to work hard. Continue to you know, put your head down in that book, in that Bible, and continue to believe. Because the reality of it is, when you got God on your side, there is nothing that you cannot do. And when I say nothing, I mean nothing that you cannot do.
And actually, I'm glad you touched the Bible, because the Bible really has everything. And people don't know. Like, if you want to learn how to make money, read Proverbs. Like, it has, you just have to really pay attention, but it has everything there. How to make money. Listening to Jim Rome a lot lately. And he's Do you know who Jim Rohn is?
I do not. I'm not familiar with Jim Rohn.
So, well, he's someone that, like, financial person, helps you, like, a lot of keys to succeed and everything. But what I notice is that he brings the Bible a lot. And he uses, like, the Bible and, like, brings it out to kind of understanding in your own way and build success. So it's very interesting because I've been learning a lot of things from him, and it's crazy because a lot of things he always says, yo, I got this from the Bible. And it's like, dang, like, the Bible is really the key. We've neglected it, because even including myself, I just started, reading the Bible. My goal is by the end of this year is finish reading Matthew's, Psalms, and the last chapter of the Bible. So currently I'm reading Matthew's, and I'm almost done that chapter, and then I'm going to Psalms. But it's interesting because it's true. Matthew has a lot of things that I'm just like, dang, life lessons that I'm just like, wow, that's actually true. And by the way, if you're gonna read the Bible, I preferably get the NIV version, International Version, because it deletes all the thus and all that stuff. But anyways, so definitely, find your source. That's why I'm saying it's important to find your source and know what is it that you're allowing in your life. What is it that you're consuming? Because that's the really thing. Who are you surrounding yourself? Are they pouring into you, or are they just bringing you more down, or allowing you just to stay at the same place? All my friends around me, y'all never let me stay at the same place. Like, if I feel like I'm, and it's crazy because you guys automatically know. Like, I will talk about it, and it's just like, all right, yeah, but look, you gotta this and that.
I hear you, but
yeah. So it's like, okay, without me even have to really put myself out there, it's like you guys already on it. So that's why I'm saying, keep people around you that know the mission, know the goal, so they don't allow you to fall. Because this is the thing about the journey. And this is not okay, because some people be like, well, God, or this and that. All right, let's take God for a second. Let's put him out the picture. Your life still continues. You're still going to go past through things. Nobody in this life is smoothly going. Everyone, they might not show it. You might not know about it, but everyone is going through something in their lives right now. Everyone. And the question is, how are you handling? How are you coping with it? And I think that's one of the things that I had to realize in my life. Like, when I was coping with my depression and I was trying to get out, it was super hard because, one, I never thought that I would go back to that hole again. I thought I had built this whole thing around me that I'm like, yo, nothing can bring me back to that point. But no, sometimes you might get knocked out. This isn't a journey that's going to be flowers and all this stuff. No, it's going to be some thorns in there. Even in a rose, it's so beautiful, but the stem has thorns. So that being said, you have to know, like, get up. You have to get up. Find a passion that really pushes you to get back up. So for instance, for me, I read once that when you really have a passion, you find, like, somewhat your purpose. That purpose will never allow you, or that passion will never allow you to just stay at the same place. It pushes you. Even when you feel like that's it, it's still something in you that doesn't allow you to go, because you see a vision of your passion. It's like, yo, I have to get there regardless of what's going on. And that's how it was with JemsWJess. When I went through depression recently, it pushed me. Like, I'm not gonna lie, when I went through it, JemsWJess, all that positivity things went out the way. It went out my head. I was the most negative person, I can honestly say. And this is why I isolated myself. Remember, I didn't even hit you or Candace up. Candace actually had to pull up on me, because that's how much I was just like, nah, like, I'm good, just stay away type thing. Like, you know what I mean? She had to pull up in my house and like, no, come out. Like, I'm here. And it was like, dang. But that being said, what really helped me get out, because I will remember JemsWJess. And I really do appreciate all the people that do support me with JemsWJess, because you guys are really the thing that really pushed me to get out there back. Because I have a lot of people that listen to it consistently, and they give me feedback. They text me like, yo, that was, what you said, this made me think, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I appreciate it because when I went through it, the first thing I thought was, how can I be JemsWJess and spread all this positivity, spread all this, and now that I'm going through it, I'm the most negative person. Like, no, I have to be that, lead by example. And then I also thought about the people that are going through it. People that do listen to my videos and just podcasts, and they're like, dang, I needed that. What if I would have stopped? It's bigger than us, and that's another thing that I had to realize. It's bigger than me. God allowed me to go through depression again just so I can remember how it felt to be in that place. So when I see someone going through it, I can relate again and be like, okay, look, I went through the same thing. This is how you get out. Because now I have steps to get out. Now I know, it refreshed my memory to know, okay, bet. Now I know what I have to do. And ultimately is I depend on God. I depend on God so much more now than I ever have. And that being said, you have to know who you surround yourself with. What is it that you're pouring inside? What type of music you listen to? Because like you said, music can really affect you, because this is the thing. Whatever you say with your mouth and you claim, that's what it is. So if you're listening to something that's like, yeah, money, this, and that, you're speaking that into existence. So now you start kind of feeling it, and that energy surpasses and it comes to you. So, you just have to be very careful with how you speak things and stop speaking negative. I see this a lot. Stop speaking negativity in your life. Claim that positivity. Claim that goal that it is that you want. Claim it.
Mm-hmm. And I'll make it, I'll make things very clear as well. It's tough.
It is.
It's very tough. And I want to say this to say, it's a process. The same way that we have allowed, or we have trained our minds to be negative, to think this way, to think that way, that's the same type of time we have to take to retrain our minds to think a different way. And it's baby steps too.
It is.
To me, I'd say start off waking up. It's like, thank God I'm alive today. Thank God I'm breathing today.
Yeah.
And you have to look at, and I always say, and this is a weird saying, this is a saying of my own, I always said, there's always a positive in every negative.
Right.
Always. Because the way I look at it is, things could always get worse.
That's true.
Like, for example, let's say maybe I'm just limited on food, right? And I'm like, man, I don't eat Hot Pockets anymore, but I don't got the Hot Pockets I want. Or, I'm an Oreos fan. I don't got the cookies. But you know what?
Yeah.
Hey, I was able to eat a meal today.
Right.
Hey, I was able to eat 3 times a day. It may not have been what I wanted, but at least I can. Because guess what? If I go out, and you and I, we've done this. And, we went out, we fed the homeless.
Yeah.
They couldn't say that they ate arguably 1 time a day.
Right.
Arguably in a day or 2. So you have to count your blessings, and where there's faith, there is blessings. And that is the most important thing that we all have to understand, because just because it may not be exactly what we want doesn't mean that we're still not blessed.
I know.
Blessings come in many shapes and sizes, many forms.
And I'm glad you actually brought the homeless. Yes, I love that experience.
And shout out to my sister too.
Yes,
thank you for allowing us to help out there. That was her initiative. Yeah.
And I loved it, like, honestly, and it makes you realize too how blessed you are. I remember hanging out, giving them the food and everything. They were so like, you could just see the happiness in their face, and how they were like, thank you. And I was just like, wow, they didn't care what it was. But regardless, I know it's some good stuff, because your sister cooks it down. Like, she really got that. But
absolutely,
in their mind, they don't know what they're getting. Yeah. So they didn't even care. They was just like, yes, thank you, food.
And it was a warm meal.
It was,
hot meal, yeah.
So it's like, it was just very, very, it changed my whole mind, because it's like, wow, over here we're complaining, like you said, we might not have that cookies.
We don't got the biggest bedroom.
We don't have this. And there's people out there really that don't have anything.
Nothing. No bedroom, no house, no running water.
Barely any food.
No clothes.
Like, so you just have to really count your blessings and be thankful about the little things. So little tips that I'm going to leave with you guys is that I wasn't always positive. People that know me, Ben, people
I haven't
that,
either.
We've never been that people that we've like, oh, we're all positive. Yeah, we're here. No, at one point we were super negative.
Go get them. No, we haven't always been that way.
One point we were definitely negative, but that's why I say you have to have a vision of yourself. You know, you have to have a vision who you want to become, and start doing those actions. For myself, and I'm gonna give you my routine in the mornings, and I think when I don't do this, I really see how it brings me off, because the moment that you step out the house, negativity, wherever you go, like, you know, it's quick to capture it, it's quick to see it, and then it can affect you. But you have to remember, like, your core, you have to settle, center, and, you know, keep going. So for me, when I wake up, literally before I even get out the bed, in my mind, I'm just grateful. I thank God for everything in advance. You know, the first step to changing your mind, in my opinion, because when I did it, this is what I did, and I continue those steps until now, even when I'm positive, because I see how it really worked in my life. Be grateful first thing in the morning, before you even get up. And I'm not going to say that I kneel down and pray, thank you God. No, I'm still in bed. In my mind, the first thought that comes in my mind, grateful. Thank you, Lord, for waking me up. Thank you for giving me this. Thank you for protecting me. Thank you in advance for this, and not just thankful, not even asking, just grateful. Because when you start being grateful for things, even if it's the smallest things, you're going to see how you start acknowledging all the good around you. You're like, dang, thank you for, like, you should start thanking God for the smallest things, because you can really see somebody without an arm, and you don't even thank God for an arm, and it's just like, you know, we don't even think of that. We thank God for anything. But if we were missing one of any part of our bodies, we will feel it. So, you know, just be grateful. And then what I do is also, you know, as I'm getting ready, I get up, definitely pray. But then after that, I listen to something motivational. Literally, first thing in the morning, I'm playing something that's positive, like not music, but just like any video, like Jim Rome, Les Brown, E.T. Yeah,
I love E.T.
And definitely, he's really good. But like the people that I choose to listen to, is not just any type of motivational. It has to be people that bring God into it.
Yeah.
Because the ultimate goal is, that's going to keep you centered, is believing, having faith in God. We live in a world of uncertainty. Like, we can't control anything, but God can. So when you believe in Him, you know, you center, you know. And then after that, I just start my day, and I motivate myself. In my mirror, I have affirmations. I am beautiful. I am strong. I am successful. And literally, as I'm combing my hair, doing my thing, I'm repeating those words. Like, look myself in the mirror, like, I am beautiful. I am confident. I am loved. Because it's easy, especially in a woman, I can speak more for the woman side. It's like, it's easy to, if you don't have somebody in your life, damn, you know, am I loved? Or just like anything, like, sometimes we have our days, you know, everyone, but like, you're like, dang, I look rough today, like, but no,
I got my do-rag on.
Like, no, you're still beautiful, you know, you still got it, like, it don't matter. And you have to disattach yourself from opinions. That's funny, yo. Because I definitely, side note, funny joke though. I was like, really, yo? You don't have to go take it off?
Before we start recording, I'm like, heck no, man. Right. You see this hair? You see this hairline? No, y'all get to see the beard fronted. That's it.
That's funny. I was like, okay, well,
but I am loved.
Right.
And I am handsome.
Yo, you're funny. Right.
No, seriously, I am, guys. You know, I'm loved.
Yeah. That's funny. But yeah, that was a good joke. But yeah, so yeah, I'm still laughing about that.
You know, but hey, we're here.
Yeah, no judge so at all.
Exactly.
And that's what I'm saying. You need to hang around people that's like, okay, well, hey, works for you. All right, let's get it then. All right.
You like it, I love it.
Right. So, but yeah, so definitely start your day being positive, you know, laughing, smile. Like, and I think that's something we forget to do, is smile. Even myself, sometimes I find, because back then, or even still now, I guess, I don't know. Yeah. But like, when the first thing they see in me is probably I'm not smiling. Because I used to have to break down through that, because I'm a person that observes first. Like, I'm like, all right, let me feel everything. I'm might be serious, and then afterwards I'm like, I bet I got it.
And especially like, for example, right, my niece was here this weekend, and her and I, got a little one-on-one time. We were just playing a little word scramble game, and she's like, Uncle LJ, can I ask you something? I'm like, yeah, what's up? She was like, why do you look so mad?
Oh,
and I'm like, oh, wow. I said, no, I'm not mad, sweetie. It's just like when I'm doing something, I concentrate and I focus. And that's just normalcy for me. Not that I was really upset about something or at someone, So I want to say this to say people notice you, but kids notice you as well, more importantly. And they pick up on things. So whether you do have a niece, goddaughter, niece, daughter, whatever, look, someone's always watching you as well.
That's true.
And, to you, that might be an everyday norm to just have a straight, stern face, but smile a little bit.
Yeah,
because you know what?
Smile.
Yeah, if things aren't perfect, but you woke up this morning. So the fact that you woke up alone, not literally alone.
Some did.
Some people, I mean, heck, I woke up alone. Right. I don't mind.
Same.
I wake up with God, so I'm never alone, right?
Hey, I like that. Amen.
But, but you woke up this morning. You're breathing. You're able to get up. And those of us who are fortunate enough to be able to walk and things like that, what the heck do you have a reason to frown for?
That's true.
Smile. Just like Lil Duval say in that song, right?
Oh, yeah.
Smile, smile,
hey,
smile. Yeah, the clean radio version.
It's like, no, it's not. But yeah. So yeah, you guys, faith, I just want to leave you guys with just knowing that you are powerful. You can overcome what it is that's killing you right now. You are unstoppable. You can be that version of you that you want. The plan is to write it down. Write down what it is that you want. Literally write down. It's a powerful thing when it comes to writing it down and seeing it, rather than just keeping it in your mind. When you see something, it's able to come into fruits. So definitely focus on you. Like, the election is over. Things are going to happen that we can't control. Now it's time to lock in with yourself. Whatever that is, saving money, becoming healthier, better mindset, finding this job, goals, whatever. Do that, write it down, and have faith that it will come, because faith is there. And remember, faith without work is nothing. So you have to remember to have faith, work towards it, apply your faith, and push and do what it is that you have to do.
Yep, and I'll leave you guys with this. Remember, you can always control what you can control. And it's easier to control what you can control than what you can't control. Right. So what I'll leave you guys with is this. Control what you can control, but what you can't control, allow God to control. Have your faith, and remember, where there's faith, there's blessings.
Hey, drop them gems.
Gemmers.
I've got to pray us out. I'll pray us out this episode.
Thank you, Sister Jess.
Okay. So God, I pray, Lord, for every single person that is listening to this. I pray, God, that you continue to bless them, that you pour in them more faith if they feel like they don't have any. I pray, God, that you continue to bless them, show them the way, Lord. I pray, Lord, that you rebuke and just cancel anything from the enemy that's disturbing their souls, their minds, their health, their emotions, their mental health, Lord. And I pray, God, that you continue to pour into them joy, continue to pour into them the fruits that they need, God, to become that version of themselves that they want to become, to be able to get that goal that it is that they want, Lord. And I pray, Lord, that you continue to bless everyone that's listening to this. I pray, Lord, that you continue to bless individually us, Lawrence and myself, that you continue to pour in us as well, Lord, so we can continue to pour in others. And I pray, Lord, that you continue to bless everyone, cover them with your blood, Lord. And I pray, God, that each of us can learn something today and continue to apply faith in our lives, Lord. Even when things get rough, Lord, that we're able to remember that you are God, you are powerful, you have everything that we need, Lord, and all it takes is to have faith and apply pressure, Lord. So I pray, God, that you continue to show us the way, that you continue to bless us, Lord. And I pray for everyone individually, Lord, whatever their situation is, God, that you continue to bless them, through it, and they're able to see the light in the end of the tunnel. And I pray, God, that you continue to bless them, protect them, cover them, Lord, and we rebuke and cancel anything from the enemy. We do not accept it, Lord. We do not even acknowledge them, Lord. They are already beneath us. So I pray and I cherish you and I thank you, Lord, and we worship you. In the name of Jesus we pray. Amen.
Amen. Well, thank you, Jess, for that awesome prayer. Obviously, these are the type of prayers we have that protects each other, that protects our families, keep us safe each and every day. And of course, I know that prayer will serve you all well and serve your families well as well through these trying and uncertain times.
Yes, you guys. So also don't forget, the podcast is on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and other platforms. And don't forget to also follow Motivate2Gravitate.
Those new listeners, please subscribe to us, whether you're listening to us on YouTube, JemsWJess, or whether you're listening to us on Spotify, whichever platform. Please subscribe to us and like us, and comment and leave feedback as well.
Yeah, definitely. We want to hear what it is, your thoughts and everything. So definitely leave any feedback. Love hearing it also. So yeah. So you guys stay safe, stay blessed, continue to take care of you and yours.
And remember, guys, change starts with you, and we can't change the world unless we change ourselves. So remember, let's keep the faith. Again, where there's faith, there are blessings. You guys will surely have your blessings, especially the more faith that you have and exemplify.
So yeah, you guys, this is JemsWJess.
Motivate2Gravitate.
Remember, I drop the gems, and it's up to you to catch them.
I motivate, and you gravitate toward higher levels that you never seen before.